Have you ever wondered what secrets lie behind the silent, shadowy hallways of abandoned hospitals? Hospitals are places of life and death where the boundary between the two is thinner than we like to imagine. But when the patients leave and the doctors abandon their posts, the energy remains, and sometimes so do the spirits. Tonight, we uncover the chilling story of a forgotten hospital, where whispers echo in the dark, and the shadows seem to follow you. Hospitals have always been eerie, even when bustling with life, but once abandoned, they transform into something else entirely, monuments to the countless souls who passed through their doors. Some hallways are never truly empty. Let me take you into one such hospital, where the living are not the only ones lurking. The Forgotten Ward. It was a cold November evening when Amy, a photographer with a fascination for urban exploration, decided to venture into St. Mercy's Asylum, an abandoned hospital on the outskirts of town. The place had been shut down for decades after a series of mysterious deaths, but locals still whispered about strange lights flickering in the windows and faint cries echoing from its empty corridors. Amy wasn't one to believe in ghost stories. Armed with her camera and a flashlight, she pushed through the rusted doors into the dim, musty air of the hospital's lobby. The stale scent of disinfectant still clung to the walls, mingling with the unmistakable odor of decay. Her footsteps echoed ominously as she ventured deeper. The long, cracked hallways seemed to stretch endlessly, their peeling paint and broken tiles like scars from a forgotten past. Then came the first sound of faint, rhythmic tapping, like fingernails drumming on a metal surface. She froze, gripping her flashlight tighter. "Just the wind," she whispered to herself. But the sound persisted. The shadow in the hallway. Amy followed the noise, her pulse quickening with each step. She turned a corner and saw a wheelchair, sitting in the middle of the hallway. It hadn't been there moments before. Her flashlight flickered, and for a split second, she thought she saw a figure standing behind the chair, a silhouette, too still to be human. "Hello?" Her voice wavered as she took a cautious step forward. The wheelchair suddenly jerked, rolling toward her with an ear-splitting screech. Amy stumbled back, her breath caught in her throat. But when she blinked, the chair was stationary again, as if it had never moved. The basement discovery. Determined to shake off her fear, Amy decided to head to the basement where the hospital's infamous psychiatric ward once operated. The stairs creaked under her weight, and the air grew colder with every step. Her flashlight caught a sign on the wall. Ward 13, closed indefinitely. The basement was even darker than the upper floors, with narrow hallways and rusted gurneys left abandoned. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from a nearby room. Amy's heart pounded as she approached the door, which was ajar. Inside, the temperature dropped sharply, and her breath came out in visible puffs. On the walls were words scratched into the plaster. "Help us." Beneath it, a crude drawing of a figure with hollow eyes. Amy snapped a photo, but the moment her camera's flash lit the room, she saw them faces staring back at her from the shadows. She bolted from the room, her flashlight flickering wildly. As she ran, the hallways seemed to twist and stretch unnaturally, leading her deeper into the hospital instead of toward the exit. The final encounter. Amy's sprint ended abruptly as she collided with a locked metal door. Turning around, she found herself face to face with the same wheelchair from earlier. This time, it wasn't empty. A figure sat in it, draped in a tattered hospital gown, its head lolling unnaturally to the side. It raised a hand, bony and gray, and pointed to the wall. Amy turned to see her name scratched into the paint, accompanied by the words, "You can't leave." In that moment, all the lights went out. The last thing she heard before blacking out was the faint sound of laughter, high-pitched, childlike and chilling. Amy was found by a local search team days later, wandering dazed near the hospital's entrance, her camera missing. To this day, she refuses to speak about what happened, but the few photos retrieved from her memory card show only dark, empty hallways except for one. A blurry image of the wheelchair with two glowing eyes staring back. What would you have done in Amy's place? Have you ever experienced something similar? Share your story in the comments below. And if you're craving more chills, check out our next video featuring the scariest true haunted locations. Don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying tales.